We're here talking about how to get more clients with LinkedIn.
Welcome to Thriving Launch with Louise Congdon and Kamala Chambers, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all.
Maybe you can relate to this. When I was a full-time coach, I found that I had to keep repeating the same things to people over and over and over again, and it got to be kind of draining, and I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing anymore. So what I decided to do was record the things that I had to tell clients over and over and over again. And then I packaged those recordings together and sold them as an online course. If you're interested in creating and selling your own online course, head over to thrivinglaunch.com and I have a free training for you on how to create and make passive income through your own online course.
We're here with Rhonda Sher. She is a published author, keynote speaker, and business development consultant specializing in LinkedIn training.
Rhonda, we're so happy to have you here talking about LinkedIn, which can be such a powerful platform. Really excited to dive in. How do we use LinkedIn to attract clients? What is the very first step that we need to do?
The first step that you need to do is to make sure that your profile is completely done and optimized. And what I mean by that is, do you have a banner that tells people how to reach you, what you do? Do you have a headline that doesn't default to your current title, but is clearly optimized so that if somebody were to search for you, you would come up pretty high when people are looking for you? It actually describes the product or services that you offer. So an example might be, I have a client that's a real estate agent in Houston, and you wouldn't think that a real estate agent would do well with LinkedIn, but it says Houston buyers, real estate agent, helping buyers and sellers in the Houston area, has her phone number, as opposed to just having her company name or real estate agent, and that's it, which would be her position. So having that headline is critical. In fact, she got a connection from a CEO in another city that was moving to Houston and reached out to her because of her headline and her profile and asked if he could help her buy a home in Houston because he was relocating there. So that headline is pretty important.
So,
and then,
go ahead.
And I was going to just add that the next most important part is your summary. And that's where you, in the first 3 lines, want to get somebody to know exactly who you serve and what you do, so they'll click see more and read your full summary, which should tell people what you do, who you serve, why you're unique, how to reach you, what your specialties are, and also have some third-party validation of why people work with you. Does that make sense?
It does. That would be in the About Us section, right?
That would be in the summary section, yes, where you include the information, because we do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So it isn't just about what the product is that they offer or the service, but you also want to know a little bit about them so that you can find an area of commonality to connect on.
Yeah. So with the banner, any ninja tricks that something small that you found has worked the best?
Yeah, actually, it's free too. And it's basically a website called Canva, Canva.com. And they have a template for LinkedIn banners. And you can create amazing banners for free using Canva. And that's what I recommend to my clients. If they want to do it themselves, just go to Canva. And you don't even have to figure out the dimensions. They've done all the work for you. You just have to import the text and the photos.
So now, if you have a LinkedIn business page,
What do you think is important to go there? Should we even have one? I mean, is that something that's important? And if we do have one, what should we use it for? I know that.
Great question.
Yeah,
A
go ahead.
business page is where you establish your credibility, but the reality is that people do business with people, not the business. So the business page is great, and I think it's an important thing to have so that people know a little bit about your business. They know how many employees you have, what you do. But you want to make sure that you also have that personal LinkedIn profile because that's where people can see your experience, your contact information, your third-party validation, your endorsements, your recommendations. It's a place to showcase case studies, videos. It's where you post. So they both work together. But business is typically done in the profile, not the business page. The business page is more the credibility factor, just so that people know it's a legitimate business.
Well, that makes complete sense, and I agree with that on so many different levels when we're talking about social media and the importance of a business page for something like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Those are fairly different beasts than LinkedIn. But going back to LinkedIn, when you create your profile, what do you think are some really important elements to have on your personal profile that kind of help dial you in and maybe generate some leads through LinkedIn just organically?
Well, one of the most important things, and interestingly enough, most often left off, is putting the way for people to contact you in your profile. It's not in your contact information necessarily, because oftentimes people have to be connected with you to get that information. So you want to make it really simple. Put either a link to your appointment if people book an appointment with you, or if you don't want to put your cell phone number there and you have a business phone, that's great, or get a Google phone. But make it really easy for people to contact you. And the other thing that I think is really important to have in your profile is letting people know exactly the problem that you solve. We know that people take action for one of three reasons: to get out of pain, to seek pleasure, or fear of the future. So what is it that you solve for your potential clients or referral partners? And also, why are you different than everybody else that does what you do? So putting that third-party validation is really, really important. And I also think it's important to put a little bit about who you are in a personal way, whether that's about causes that you care about or the fact that you may be a world traveler, just something that allows people to relate to you other than on a business level, because we all do business with people we know, like, and trust. So in that summary section, I recommend that you take advantage of every single character that LinkedIn gives you to let people know what problem do you solve? Why are you different? What do others say about you? How do they reach you? What are your specialties? And if you can, even give them a list of clients that you've worked with in the past. That's a way that they can relate and see themselves as somebody like those clients. And they would say, wow, if this person's working with this particular person on the profile, then it might be a good match for me. So you want to really write that summary from the standpoint of the person who is your ideal client or referral partner that's reading it. And if you were that person who was your potential client reading the profile, would you want to know more? Would you pick up the phone to say, I'd love to learn more, or send a message or connect?
It makes complete sense. And I think that's something that a lot of times when people create profiles, they're thinking about, what do I like about me and what's cool about me? And they're not really thinking in the shoes of, well, somebody's reading this and potentially thinking about hiring you. What kind of information should you get across to them so that they'll be enticed to reach out to you? Here's the other thing that I know a lot of people struggle with is there's so many different platforms now with blogging, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, that it gets kind of overwhelming and we don't know what to do on each platform. So, for example, something that I've been advised to do on numerous occasions is post, do the post, do the updates on LinkedIn. But I really do most of that through Facebook and somewhat through Twitter. And then after that, I don't really feel enticed to do that. And LinkedIn doesn't have that same kind of organic, fun social engagement, at least for me, in the way that I like that Facebook offers. So should we be posting? How often should we be posting? Can you say just a little bit about posting content and how it might
Sure.
help you, or how to kind of just optimize that so you don't get overwhelmed?
That's a great question. And, the one difference between LinkedIn and all the other platforms that you mentioned is that people spend time on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of that, but they invest time on LinkedIn. And I actually recommend that you post. And when I say post, I mean that's not putting an article, because that's actually using Pulse, which is the publishing platform. But you post 3 times a day, either by sharing somebody else's information or putting a positive quote or putting something up there. And the reason for that is that you're getting a following of people by posting. And I'll just share a quick story about how powerful posting really is. I've been connected to somebody since 2012, and every day I would see his post, and it was always something positive that made me smile. It was a motivation or a story or something that just brought a smile to my face, and it was in my feed. And one day I sent this gentleman a message, and I said, Richard, I just want to thank you for making me smile every morning. I love what you post, and I share it with my network. I really appreciate that you take the time to find such great stuff to post. And he wrote back and he said in a message, nobody's ever thanked me before. You have no idea what this means to me. And little did I know that he has something called Global Goodwill Ambassadors, which are basically people that just go out and do good in the world. And he said, I'd love to make you part of that. And make a long story short, he nominated me to be a Global Goodwill Ambassador and, posted it out to his entire network, which is like 150,000 followers. And I got so much business from just that one little post that he wrote about me. And I said, is there anything I can do for you? He said, no, not at all. I just, I've looked at what you do. I think it's great. I just want to share it with my followers. And I said, well, can I tweak your profile for you? And he said, why? Does it need tweaking? And he's one of those people that doesn't need LinkedIn to generate business. His job is one where his company tells him, this is the city you're going to be in this week. He goes out with the sales reps and helps them close. So he's out there for visibility, but he's not out there to get clients. And I said, well, I could use a little tweaking. He said, well, let me pay you. And I said, oh, no, your money doesn't work at my bank. And I tweaked his profile for him, and it was amazing, the feedback that he got on it. But what I got, which was so unexpected, was this influx of business, because all I did was say, hey, I love your post. Thanks so much for making my day. So posting on LinkedIn is a really powerful thing to do. And knowing that, according to Forbes, 64% of all traffic to websites from social media is from LinkedIn, you realize what a truly powerful platform it is.
Let's talk about some of those advanced ways that we can start to get clients through LinkedIn. We've talked about posting, we've talked about your banner and your own personal information. What are some other ways?
So after your profile is completely done and optimized, and you can show it to somebody and say, based on this profile, if you were looking for somebody that did what I do, would you connect with me or would you reach out? And you get a yes. The next step in order to generate clients, and this is truly something that works, is you send a personalized connection request. You don't just hit connect. So it might be something like, Lewis, we met at the New Media Summit. We share common connections. It would be great to connect and learn how we can network for our mutual benefit. Well, you're going to get that, look at my profile and say, oh, okay, I've got a very complete profile. Most likely you'll connect and accept. And then the way that the conversation turns into a client is I then send you a message that thanks you for connecting with me. And I then will endorse you for a couple of skills because I want you to get higher in the search engines with the endorsements. And basically say something like, just to let you know a little bit more about me. And I'll just tell you a couple of sentences about myself and tell you I'd like to learn more about you, and give you a link if you're open to booking a 30-minute get acquainted call. And that's how that dance starts. But how you really get business is you literally pick up the phone. And this is the script that I use. I have a practice that I teach and I use called 10 before 10. And that is, I reach out to 10 people before 10 a.m. and I would say, Louis, we're connected on LinkedIn. I'm not selling anything. The reason I'm calling is I wanted to learn a little bit more about you and your business and see who in my network I might be able to introduce you to, or if there's somebody that might be a good referral for you. You would be amazed at how much business happens when you just do that on a consistent basis and actually call people from LinkedIn.
That is really fantastic to hear. And before we close out, is there any last tip that will really supercharge your ability to get clients on LinkedIn?
The tip that I would give is stay top of mind. And what I mean by that is LinkedIn tells you when somebody has a birthday. They tell you when somebody changed jobs or they're having a work anniversary. So make it a point to stay top of mind with your connections and pick up the phone. That's one of the most ignored things that people do, and that's what leads to the most business. It's literally pick up the phone with the mindset of being of service, not selling. And truly, magic happens if you spend 30 minutes a day nurturing your network on LinkedIn.
Rhonda, Sher, everyone. We've been talking about LinkedIn and how to get clients through it. I just encourage you all to go out today, take some of what you've learned, even if it's just 3 things. Check out the show notes. We're going to have it all detailed on the training that Rhonda has gone through, which is fantastic. I just encourage you to take 3 things and go out them and apply them to your own LinkedIn profile today. Keep thriving, everyone. You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there.